Hey, it's Ryan with QLZ. It's ZouZou. I'm gonna do it to you. It's take two here for chatting with you today. So ZouZou of the band Soraia. ZouZou, I have known you probably just about as long as anybody else I've known in the music industry.
Yeah, we've known each other a few years now. Like, was it 2019?
It was it was a month before COVID. You guys had the song Wild Woman out, and I think I interviewed you a month before COVID shut things down for you in Jersey, for me in Wisconsin, and then Illinois and Ohio and all the other states as well.
Yeah, and then we ended up talking about a lot of we talked over the lockdown about bands and hockey and The Office.
We did. We talked about your cats.
Oh, we did. Of course.
Yeah, we talked about the cats.
If I talk to anyone at all, the cats are coming up in minutes too. So
Voodoo Elvis and Gypsy Rose.
That's right.
That's right. Are they hiding right now?
Yeah, they're upstairs. They're like, no can do. They're out.
As I told you, I don't have power at my house. Most of Springfield does not have power. So Jay is hanging out in the QLZ studio with me today. Now, just because you and I are friends on Facebook, and again, like you would have loved it here yesterday following around, because we did have a tornado that touched down, I believe, about 15 minutes away. You're a lead singer, and you're practically a storm chaser.
I really am. I know a few storm chasers, and I was showing you earlier that I have the radar to tell me when there's tornadoes, basically anywhere in the entire country, if not the world. And I'm just fascinated. I've always been fascinated by nature and also terrified of it since I was very little. The first tornado I saw, my dad was watching TV, and every time it rained, I'd sit on the couch and look out the window over my neighbor's house to wait for the tornado, because I thought tornadoes just happened every time it rained. So nobody was more flabbergasted than me when they didn't. So, but as soon as you brought up earlier that there was a tornado there, I kind of lit up, not gonna lie.
You did. You looked up where it was at?
I did. I immediately looked at the radar. I looked at what it was the EF2. I already know that about it. So, anything you need to know about that tornado from yesterday, or any of the ones from yesterday in Indiana and Ohio, you come right here.
Yeah. You'll get it taken care of. Now, there is supposed to be a second Twister movie coming out.
Oh, I know.
Are you going to be in it? Are you trying to be in it?
I would totally try to be in it. I think it's actually done filming. So, but I would totally try to be in it. I would be authentically myself if I was allowed in it. Yep. I mean, they wouldn't need to direct at all. I'd be ready to go. I come like pre-made in that situation. I do. I love. There's a place where you can actually watch tornado that's semi-safe. There's nowhere that's really safe, but where you stay on an area of it, and I'm going to tell you the absolute truth. Every time one is near here, I absolutely forget where that is.
Okay. And then you don't go see it.
No, I still go see it.
Oh, you still do? Okay.
I just figure I'm somehow superpowers that I'm not going to get hurt by it. So
you think you're invincible. You still have that mentality.
I still have that I'm never going to die thing, So it's good. It's good and also insane, but
yeah. I have that every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. I could get hurt.
I could get hurt. Yeah. Like I told you, there's a down power line. And I was like, I should probably get 5 feet within this to make sure to just look and just take a photo so I can send it to my rental company and just be like, hey, this happened today.
Yeah.
But don't get too close to it. Somewhat living on the edge, but not really.
Yeah, really. It's how close do you get to it? I don't know. I don't feel like looking it up. So I'll just stay this far away.
Yeah, this seems safe. Let me get a quick photo. Let me go inside. Let me grab the dog, and then let me just go back to somewhere that has power. So that was my day yesterday. We chatted about that for a while. Again, if people don't know who Soraia is, you're out on the East Coast. You're in Jersey. You're originally from Philly.
Yep.
You're looking to go back to Philly because you're already spending a bunch of money going there anyway.
I mean, it's ridiculous how much I cross the bridge twice a day. That's $300, everybody. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. That's $300 at least, not to mention the gas. So it's it just makes sense. Plus, it's Philly's my heart, and I miss it. And even though it's right over the bridge, and I kind of sometimes tell myself it's just right over the bridge, there is a difference living in the city versus not. So
yeah, I know. And there'll be, like you said, you can actually walk to places and walk to coffee shops and everything else. I'm almost going East Coast here with my accent. I don't know why that happened. Probably because I've talked to you so many times. But Zoo, you guys have a new single out right now. Thank you. I'll do my best to throw it in here every once in a while and not fall at it. So you guys have a new single coming out. It's called Every Motion. It's going to be on the Artist Spotlights next week on July 5th, 8:30 in the morning, because I am now doing mornings, as you know, 9:30 for all of you on the East Coast. What can you tell our listeners about the song? We always, as you know, I was like playing a clip of the interview about the song. So this is a new one from you guys. So what can you tell me about Every Motion?
Every Motion is just, it's like, once again, from like stuff I've been going through myself. It's always like kind of first person perspective, but then I always take that perspective and like kind of reach out and figure out how it fits into like the framework of the rest of the world, like what other people are going through, just because I like to connect and with the stories I tell. So Every Motion, I was reading White Fang. It was in January, and I started reading it's like a young adult book, White Fang. So I never read the book White Fang. So I started reading it. And it was funny because at the same time, Brianna, our drummer, was reading it, which was weird. And then I just had this idea that I really wanted to tell the story of like how a wolf like goes after its prey. You know what I mean? It looks at every motion and it studies and it waits, you know? So, and I thought it reminded me of something I'd gone through as a kid. And I was like, it's kind of similar. So I told a story that's not very clear or literal, like of my own growing up within the context of this wolf. And also of like this animal instinct that like, but how we overthink things and how we try to figure out what's coming next. And it's kind of just like about growing up like that, like always studying like what your parents are doing or what they're thinking to like, for whatever reason. And, but as time goes on, it's really about just this wolf and like getting its prey. And, I really like it because it's all a metaphor for real life, and anybody can take out of it what they want and hear what they want. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Written in January. So with me and Travis sat down and we wrote that, and then the next single too in January. And we figured we'd release a single every month of the summer. So June, July, and August. And that'll be our releases for this year till the next album next year. So
awesome.
And we'll tour on that in the fall. So new music.
Are you going back to Sweden? I know. So if people don't know too, like you guys have gone to Sweden a couple times, and it's just the band has had amazing experiences over there.
Yeah, I love Sweden. I love Sweden, especially in the fall. We've gone in the fall and in the summer. And although Sweden's very beautiful in the summer, I think the crowds are in a different place in the fall. So it's really packed in the clubs, and it's like really a great energy in the room. Like rock and roll is very much alive and well in Sweden. So I love playing Sweden. We're doing like another week and a half tour there, and we'll record again there. We always go like last minute and record something that we just like, let's just record this, and we go and record it. And it also ends up being a digital single at some point. But yeah, and I think we might release an anniversary edition of something. It depends if it follows along with, if it finishes when it's supposed to on time. So
so why, every time I've talked with you, it's always been about albums. Soraia creates albums, and you and I've had tons of discussions about albums. We both love buying CDs. You love buying vinyl. I know you always did like your vinyl Sundays and sitting around and listening to vinyl. So, in a world where it's singles and EPs, and I mean, there's still plenty of bands making albums, but for Soraia, why is it, still the right decision to make these full-length records?
I think because it's also a picture of a time, like there's more to say than just in a single. I think it almost limits me, at least in my writing, that going like, I start getting into this really cool place when I really start writing by like song 2 or 3, sometimes 4. So it develops into something more. And why would I not want to share that, or like at least get like, it just gets deeper for me and gets more, I get more in touch with that piece. It's like if you think of an artist like doing a sculpture, say, and they have to like break it down after every, I got this far, I gotta break it down. It's like they get to spend a year on it. It's going to be a different result than if they spend like a day or 2 on it, right? So it's kind of like also an artistic kind of indulgence in that we want to know what we really have to say, and it gives us an opportunity when we go in the studio and record an album. You're not just trying to release this one chunk of something. You start, even in the studio, you get in a flow of like, oh, you know what? We should try this too. But it only happens after you're trying it on a few different ideas. It just opens up the mind better. And I also think it tells a story better than just a single. I'm always, even if albums aren't cool, I'm always going to do an album.
Yeah.
Always. You can take that to the bank.
All right. All right. We're writing it down. It is June 30th at 1:18 Central Time right now, as of recording of this. So everybody knows that. Right before we hit July. What's the summer look like for you guys?
Mostly just one-offs. Like we're playing tomorrow night. We're jumping all around. We do a West Coast mini tour. We're doing like 4 dates West Coast, LA, San Francisco, Alameda, and Oceanside. So 2 in the southern part of the state and 2 northern. And then we play Music Fest in Bethlehem. It's a big festival here in Pennsylvania. 2 nights there, and then writing the rest of the summer, and then we go on tour September through November. So
awesome. And that's not out yet, is it?
The single, the next single,
or sorry, September. The touring in September through November.
No, it's on our site if you really want to know where we're going. But we're doing a formal announcement when we get back from Cali. So probably late in the month.
Okay, I'll have to look to see if you guys are coming anywhere around here to Springfield. I can't remember if you are, but
we are.
Are you? All right. I might have. You and I have talked so much about coming out and seeing you guys play, and it's usually like, oh, I'm in Wausau, Wisconsin, and it's like nowhere near. And then then I had to move to Green Bay temporarily, and it was like, Ryan, where are you gonna go next? I'm like, I have no idea, and then I landed here on Springfield, so it's been great. So if you guys are near here.
Like mid-October, I think we're trying to book a few more dates around. We're playing Indianapolis for a punk rock night, and then we're playing Nashville. So it's like we're going down and up kind of thing. So we're trying to come through Indy, and then Indiana, and then head back Ohio, and then go home. So there's still 2 more dates we're trying to add to that. That's mid-October.
Okay. Awesome. Yep. I'm going to keep it on my calendar. My birthday is in mid-October as well. So I know.
A lot going on.
What can I say? So Zou, again, the new single is Every Motion. It's out now. We're getting the artist spotlight on July 5th. So we are off on July 4th. So celebrate America. Tune in nice and early, 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday. I'll check it out. And I'm going to ask you a question. I was trying to think of like questions I've never asked you, because I've asked you probably more outside the box questions than anybody else. You're always like my guinea pig for these things of like, hey, I want to ask this, Zou, but I need to ask you a question I've already asked you, because it's the favorite, your no skip records, your favorite no skip albums of all time. And I know you did a write-up for me for this in Wisconsin, but I've now started asking it at the end of interviews for everybody that do this now. I'm like, I kind of want to throw this at some bands and like see if they can get it off the top of their heads. And it's gone well. Nobody's been like, I'm not answering that. So
good.
Yeah, it's been good. So for the QLZ audience here, so for the QLZ audience, some of your favorite complete albums of all time.
My favorite complete albums of all time?
Yeah. So your no skip records. Yeah. From start to finish, no skips.
Start to finish. I don't have an order though.
That's fine.
Okay. So I definitely, and I don't necessarily know the titles of some of these, but it's always different. I love Elvis. Basically any Elvis album is probably my favorite Elvis album. If you pick like I literally was just with my cousin yesterday, and he gave me like 2 Elvis albums, and they're my new favorite albums. And I haven't even listened to them because I'm just a fan of Elvis Presley, like his voice, no matter what he sings. And so I'd say Elvis. And then I love 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine. I might even say that's the album I revisit the most.
Okay.
And I finally have it on vinyl, which is, I don't even know how that happened, but Pretty Hate Machine is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. Trying to think what there's actually an album that heavily influenced one of the albums, at least in my writing and my lyrics. In 2017's Dead Reckoning, I was listening to Rival Sons. What was the album that was out then? Oh my God. It was a Rival Sons album, but it wasn't the last one, and it's not the current one.
I think Dark Fighter is the new one. I think it's
Dark Fighter is the new one. The last one was that whole nature with the wolf, I think, or I forget. I saw that tour, but it was
that with Do Your Worst on it, or no? Or before that?
I think Do Your Worst is off the last album. I think I totally can look it up if I can cheat. I don't have a lot of time, but it's the one. Black Coffee was out then. Electric Man. Shoot. I'm going to real quick, Rival Sons. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you the album that I'm talking about that I like kind of influenced Dead Reckoning was, I was listening to It's the soundtrack for Sid and Nancy on vinyl.
Okay.
Sid and Nancy from like the 90s, I guess, on vinyl with Gary Oldman and Chloe Sevigny. That soundtrack is the greatest album in the world.
Okay.
To this day, I'll stand behind that.
All right. I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay. Electric Man was the first single. Oh, it's going to take a minute to load. We're going to wait on that.
All right.
But there's Union City Blues by Blondie on there. If you ever heard that song, there's a single by Joe Strummer called Love Kills. Probably my favorite song on that album. I love The Clash. I'm a big Clash fan. That's probably one of my favorite bands, The Clash. Let's see what other albums. I really like Purple Rain by Prince. I know that sounds like, oh, all right, she likes Purple Rain, but I love Purple Rain by Prince. I love Elephant by the White Stripes. Is still probably one of my favorite albums of all time. It changed my life. And then the album, and I don't know what it's called, but Iggy Pop released it. I think it was a Stooges album. He's on the front with like a bunch of dynamite wrapped around him. There's a song on there called I Got a Job. But I love that album because I saw him live for the first time ever and changed my life seeing him live. And that was the album. And so I listened to that album like on repeat for like all of 2000 and I think it was 2013 it came out.
Okay.
So all I did was listen to that album. I don't know what else. What else? I can't think right now. Man, you got me. I know it's gonna happen. I'm gonna look later. I love Joan Jett.
You do, yes.
The one with is it I Love Rock and Roll's on? Where's that stupid album? It's right here somewhere. Oh, well, the one that has I Love Rock and Roll in it, because I love that. Crimson Clover, Bad Reputation. I think Bad Reputation is a different album. I think it's called I Love Rock and Roll, the album. Because I remember she has that jacket and the like kerchief around her neck. That's all I remember. It's like a pink jacket, blazer, and like a blue. Anyway, that album. And I don't know. I can't think of any more. I love Rob Zombie. What's the one about Dragula and
Hillbilly Deluxe?
I think it's Hillbilly Deluxe. I do like. I don't know. It's favorite. I do like White Zombie actually from the 90s, 96, 97. Yeah. You know, I'm going to end up like emailing you like 10 more.
I know. You're going to be like, Ryan, I thought of more. Can I just write these all to you? Can you just post these somewhere for me? So what we do?
I was like, shoot, I forgot this one or I forgot this one. But the ones I named are really great albums. I mean, any Clash album for me is like really pivotal at the time I'm listening to it because I love Joe Strummer. Again, Joe Strummer's voice is just something that speaks to me really strongly. Joe Strummer's voice, Joan Jett's voice. I'm a big voice person. Like I really like attitude and voice and character in a vocal. Like I love that. I don't care who's singing. If it's like Joe Strummer, like that's got to be the 70s, right? That decade of and maybe early 80s Clash. Yeah.
All right. You gave a lot. So don't worry. You gave a lot on that. Yeah. There's some people that we've gotten only a couple. There's others that have done this where they're like, they just keep going. I'm like, no, you can keep going. That's why we asked the question. But again, it's ZouZou of Soraia. We're getting Every Motion on here on QLZ. July 5th, Wednesday morning, 8:30, 9:30 for you out east. I know you have to go look at places to live because that's always important. So I always appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
Thank you, Ryan.